to vote in Burundi. Rwanda has also taken part in the repeat presidential election, and our Kigali-based correspondent Eugene Anangwe sent us this report from there. Take a look.
Rwanda, just like the other East African countries, of course, including South Africa, is among the countries that Kenyans living in those particular countries are allowed to partake in only the presidential vote. And of course, as you can see, we have been having Kenyans coming into the Kenyan embassy in Rwanda to exercise their civic right in the repeat polls. Let me just take you through the procedures that are being followed right here at this particular station. There are two polling stations, of course, two of them right here, and of course immediately someone comes in, they do go through this particular process. It's actually the first stage, of course, after going through security check, and they get to look at their names, and when they actually go through, they find their names, they will be told they are on polling station number 2 or polling station number 1. Of course, apart from the names of the registered voters, those Kenyans living in Rwanda who registered to vote, we also have the sample of the ballot paper. And as you can see, we have Ekuru Okot, we have Mohamed Abdubadida, we have Jirongo, of course, we also have Jafet Kavinga, of course, President Uhuru Kenyatta is also there, and we also have Michael Wainaina and William, who's Joseph. Of course, Raila Odinga is also on the ballot, and what you can see is that all the candidates who took part in the August 8th presidential vote are actually in the ballot. Of course, I told you that we have two polling stations. This is polling station number 1, and of course, according to the presiding officers, we have 437 registered voters in the polling station 1.
People have coming, so I can't say that they have boycotted or no. The turnout is good. I can say, though it's slow, but they're going to come. Just tell Kenyans living in Kigali, please come. We are open, we are here for them. We are open until 4 o'clock. In Kenya, that is 5 o'clock. So we expect to close at around 4.
The reason for my coming here for this morning, for the election, is basically, first of all, to fulfill my constitutional right, and also to be part of the Kenyan community trying to get this issue out of the way. It's time. There's been a lot of anxiety, but I'm happy that the day has come, basically to cast my vote, so that then I'm counted amongst the people who have participated to ensure that this thing is put to bed and that life can move on.
All right.
One of the reasons I came is we still have to follow the rule of law. If the judges said we'll come to the votes, we've definitely come for it. Now what happens after that is definitely another different ballgame. So we've come, we've fulfilled our role, and let's see what happens after that.
Of course, the other side, as you can see, is polling station number 2, and it has 438 registered voters. A total of 875 Kenyans are expected to come and cast their ballot here. Turnout so far, not so good, but of course, we have people trickling in one by one, considering the fact that in Rwanda today, it is a working day. It's not a public holiday, and of course, most of the Kenyans who are here for jobs and for work. So most of them sneaking in from their workplaces to come and exercise their ballot, and of course some of them probably will be coming in later on in the day, probably during lunch hour or something like that. But of course polling is expected to close at 4 p.m. Local time, which will be 5 p.m. in Kenya. The presiding officer being categorical that they will be following the Kenyan time and not the local time. You remember last election in August, lots of Kenyans were locked out at the gate because they came in at around 4, some minutes after 4 p.m. Rwanda time, and the polling had already been closed officially, and they were trying to argue that actually it's supposed to be closed at 5 and not 4. But so these are some of the information, or this is the information that we've been able to get so far, and we'll be keeping you up to date as far as the repeat presidential poll is concerned right here in Rwanda.
Well, Eugene Anangwe, our correspondent in Rwanda, telling us of how the process is. We've seen from Burundi, we've seen Rwanda. Let's see how it is in neighboring Tanzania. Now